which router we log in, we cannot see that detail. So you have R1 information, you have R2 information, and you have R4. So if you see, the R1 become the DR and R2 become the BDR, R4 become DR other, and if we check the R3 also, they will become the DR other. If we write show IP OSPF neighbor, you can see here R3 become the DR other. As per theory, we told first they will check the priority, all are having the same priority. Then after that they will check the highest router ID. Highest router ID is for R4. So R4 should become the DR, but here if you see, R1 become the DR. Why like this? Because first time when we configure the R1, that time no one is there. So R1 become the DR. After that we configure the R2, so no one is there, that time R2 become the DR. And remaining we configure R3, R4, so they become the BDR. Because whenever the election is going on, if that time the highest router ID guys are not present, then they will not become the DR. So now if you want to make the R4 as a DR, then we need to reset the OSPF. After that R4 will become the DR and R3 will become the BDR. But now as we configure R1 first time, so R1 become the DR and then R2 become the BDR. By seeing this IP, we know this is the R1, this is the R2. So now we can do the reset. To reset the OSPF, we will write clear IP OSPF process, enter, write yes. So when we do this one, it will reset the process, and after that it will again check. They will do the election again, and after that they will check that one, and the R4 will become the DR. We can do the reset in this two router only, or we can do here also, better do in all router. But in the real world you need to take the approval, because when you are doing down, you will have the downtime. So whenever you need, you cannot do the reset. You need to get the approval. When they approve, that time only you need to do the reset, else you will have the downtime there. So now we done the reset. After that we can check. We need to wait for some time. After that we can check. Now I am checking show IP OSPF neighbor, and you can see here this DR become the BDR. Actually this guy should become the DR. So let me see here, maybe still the link is not up. Show IP OSPF neighbor here. Okay, R2 become the DR. So when I reset, it take the time, so I will reset now again. Now you see it is correct now. R4 become the DR, R3 become the BDR, and R1 become the DR other. And if you want to check the R1, you can go to any other router and you can write show IP OSPF neighbor, and you will get here R1 information. R1 become the DR other. So what we are saying here, like whenever we have the configuration, which router we configure the DR, BDR first, like which router we enable the OSPF first, that guy will become the DR, and then next guy will become the BDR. So we need to do the reset OSPF. After that they will check the priority. If all the guys are having the same priority, then what they will do, they will check the router ID. Whoever is having the high router ID, that guy will become the DR. Now example, maybe your manager is saying this is the R1 and this one is a new router. We need to make this guy is a DR. So how we can make means, we need to increase the priority of R1. So we need to go to R1. Then you need to go to the interface, which interface we have connected, that is E0 by 0. And you will write IP OSPF priority, and you can give high priority. Example, I give 200. So when I give the high priority, after some time we need to check this guy should become the DR, or we need to reset the process. So we will see here, I will go here and I will check show IP OSPF neighbor. Now if you see priority I increase here, but you have the old state only. So what I need to do, I need to reset the OSPF. So I will write clear IP OSPF process and I will write here yes. So after some time it will reset. Then we can see I will reset. I reset the R4 and R3 I can reset. It will take some time, we need to wait for some time. After that we can check. If you see now R1 become the DR, R1. Let's go to any other router to check, because I want to check the other information. OSPF neighbor. If you see, I increase the priority here, so this guy will become the DR, and remaining all are having the same priority, so they will check the router ID, and this guy is having the high router ID, so this guy will become the BDR. First they will check the priority. Whoever is having high priority, even they have low router ID, that guy will become the DR. So you can see here this guy become the DR, and after that they will check all are having the same priority, so the highest router ID is this one, so that guy become the BDR. An example, if your manager told this router R4 should not become the DR or BDR, this is very old model, then you can reduce the priority here. R4 priority you can put as a 0, so he will not participate in the election. So go to the R4 interface and write here IP OSPF priority, and you can put 0 and you can exit, and we can reset the process, OSPF process, and we can wait for some time and we can check. If you see here we have the high priority, so R1 become the DR. R4 we set the 0, so he will not become the DR and BDR, he become the DR other. So after R4 you have the R3 is having the high router ID, so this guy become the BDR. So this is the DR BDR election. Now